I accidentally rescued Lin Mu Wan, a wealthy heiress who'd been kidnapped. To repay the favor, the Lin family matriarch gave me two choices. Either marry her beloved youngest granddaughter, Lin Mu Wan, or take 100 million in cash. One decisively chose the cash. Then I booked the earliest international flight. I just wanted to get away from here. Away from Lin Mu Wan, the capital's heiress I had rescued. Because I'd been reborn. In my previous life, after I saved kidnapped heiress Lin Mu Wan, I juggled 5 jobs, pouring my heart and soul into raising her like a pampered little princess. Yet once she was found and brought home, she forbade anyone from mentioning those humiliating years. Since I'd done the Lin family a favor, Madame Lin asked what I wanted. Foolishly, I said, I want to marry Wanner. I want to care for her for the rest of my life. But I didn't know that from the day she returned to the Lin family, Lin Mu Wan had fallen for Xishan, the capital's golden heir. After we married, she was utterly cold to me. Every time she held my hand, she'd immediately rush to the restroom and scrub it clean. Later, she became pregnant, so the love of her life wouldn't have to be the other man, and so she could be with him openly. She pushed me off a cliff with her own hands. Before I died, she strode over in her high heels, stopped before the pool of blood, and sneered. Gucci, you're a pathetic nobody who reeks of poverty. What makes you worthy of being my husband? Aang will always be my first choice. Anyone else can be a backup. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day Madame Lin asked how I wished to be repaid. This time, I buried my delusions. Without even looking at Lin Mu Wan, I said, I want cash, and a plane ticket to the United States. Money. Gucci, are you playing hard to get with me? Lin Mu Wan's shrill voice shattered the luxurious calm of the Lin villa. She sat on a European-style leather sofa, her arms crossed. Those eyes that had once been full of me now held nothing but undisguised contempt and mockery. She'd been back with the Lin family for less than 3 days. The cheap cotton dress I'd scrimped and saved to buy her had already been replaced by a custom Chanel suit. The dazzling diamond necklace around her neck seemed to silently mark the vast class divide between us. Madame Lin sat regally at the head of the room, fingering a strand of red sandalwood prayer beads. Her clouded yet shrewd eyes swept over me. She seemed to be assessing the remaining value of a defective product. Mr. Gu, Wanner can be blunt. Don't take it personally. A man in a white, subtly patterned suit stepped out from behind Lin Mu Wan. It was Xishan, a famously wealthy young man from the capital. He casually sat beside Lin Mu Wan and took her hand as though it were the most natural thing in the world. Not only did Lin Mu Wan not pull away, the tips of her ears turned slightly red. She leaned closer to him. Xishan looked at me. A seemingly gentle but malicious smile curved his lips. Mr. Gu saved Wanner. It's only natural that he'd want compensation. I just wonder how much money Mr. Gu wants, and how big his appetite really is. He deliberately emphasized the words, big appetite. His gaze brimmed with condescension, contempt, and false charity. I calmly looked at the 3 people before me. The weightless plunge and bone-shattering agony of that fall in my past life still seemed etched into my flesh and bones. Lin Mu Wan's words at the cliff's edge. You're a vile, penniless nobody. How could you possibly be worthy of being my husband? Still thundered in my ears. I pushed those thoughts aside. My gaze passed over Xishan and met Madame Lin's directly. I want 10 million. My voice was completely flat, as though I were discussing the weather. The living room fell instantly silent. Then, Lin Mu Wan let out an exaggerated, icy laugh. 10 million. 10 million. Gucci, have you lost your mind? She shot to her feet, pointing right at my face. You juggle for jobs, waiting tables and hauling bricks at construction sites. How much can you possibly earn in a month of backbreaking work? And now you're demanding 10 million. Do you think the Lin family's money falls from the sky? The disgust in her eyes was practically overflowing. I knew it. You never saved me out of kindness. You're nothing but a bloodsucker. You pretended you were too proud to stay. Just so you could demand an outrageous sum, wasn't it? Xishan quickly took Lin Mu Wan by the wrist, gently patting her back to soothe her. Wanner, don't be angry. He's not worth making yourself sick over. He turned to me, his brows slightly furrowed, putting on a show of pained outrage. Mr. Gu, I thought you were an honest man. I never expected you to be so greedy. 10 million. Maybe nothing to the Lin family, but for someone from the bottom rung like you, getting that much money all at once could easily lead you astray. I advise you to be more practical. As for 80,000 or 100,000, then go start a small business. Wouldn't that be better? His words sounded as if every sentence was for my benefit. Yet every word called me greedy and beyond saving. Looking at Jibane's hypocritical face, I suddenly realized how pitifully stupid I'd been in my past life. I'd actually lost to such a cheap, manipulative man. I ignored Jibane's provocation and looked only at Madame Lin. Madame Lin. Is Miss Lin's life not even worth 10 million? Madame Lin's hand stilled on her prayer beads. A dark glint flickered through her clouded eyes. The Lins were one of Jingju's most prominent elite families. If word got out that their heiress's savior had been dismissed with only 80 or 100,000, where would the Lin family's pride be? Fine. 10 million. You'll have it. Madame Lin's voice was hoarse, yet carried unquestionable authority. Grandma. Lin Mu Wan panicked, stamping her foot. How can you agree to such an unreasonable demand? A poor nobody like him. Who knows how he'll squander the money? Madame Lin raised a hand, cutting Lin Mu Wan off. She stared at me, her voice cold. Gucci, I can give you 10 million. But once you take it, you will sign a confidentiality agreement. From this day forward, you are forbidden from telling anyone that you saved Warner. And under no pretext may you ever appear before Warner or any member of the Lin family again. Can you do that? I nodded without hesitation. Of course, more than any of you. I hope our paths never cross again in this lifetime. Lin Mu Wan froze. She clearly hadn't expected me to agree so readily, without even a trace of reluctance. Deep down, she believed I should be the one groveling at her feet like a dog, shamelessly clinging to her. Gucci, stop putting on this act. Do you think money can wash away that lower-class sewer stench clinging to you? Let me tell you this. Even if you have 10 million, in my eyes, you're still a lowly poor man. Jibane chimed in at just the right moment, his tone carrying a hint of smugness. Mr. Gu. Warner's words may have been blunt, but they're true. We move in different circles. Don't force your way into ours. Take the money and crawl back to the mud pit where you belong. I watched them echo each other, without the slightest ripple in my heart. If anything, I almost laughed. When will the money reach my account? I ignored their mockery completely and looked at Madame Lin. I'll have finance prepare a check. The old lady said coldly, I want a bank transfer. I won't accept a check. My tone was firm. A check could be frozen. I wouldn't leave them any leverage over me. Madame Lin studied me deeply, then finally nodded. Fine. Tomorrow afternoon. Bring your identification to Ling Group and sign the agreement. I turned and headed for the door, without pausing once. See you tomorrow afternoon. Once the money arrives, I'll disappear immediately. I wish Miss Lin and young Master Ji a lifetime of happiness. The following afternoon, I arrived at Ling Group's legal department right on time. The agreement's terms were brutally restrictive, all but stripping me of the right to utter Lin Mu Wan's name. I didn't even read it closely. I signed the last page directly and pressed my fingerprint beside it. Ding! My phone vibrated. A bank notification confirmed that 10 million had been deposited into my account. I stared at that long string of numbers and let out a long, heavy breath. From this moment on, I was finally free. I left the Ling Group building and took a cab back to that cramped, gloomy basement rental. This place held all my devotion and pain from my past life. In the corner lay the cardboard I'd scavenged to buy supplements for Lin Mu Wan. The cheap, chipped glass on the table came from a street vendor after I pawned the only old watch my father had left me. To buy her cold medicine, he had thrown it in for free. In my past life, when Lin Mu Wan returned to the Lin family, she took nothing with her, except this glass. Her eyes were red when she said, "This proves we endured hardship together." But later, I learned the truth. She took the glass back, only to show Jibane how inhumanely she'd suffered among the poor, so she could win Jibane's sympathy. That glass, in the end, right in front of me, Jibane casually smashed that glass to pieces. I picked up the glass, walked to the trash can, and let go. With a sharp crack, glass shards scattered across the floor. Trash belongs in the trash. Just then, the rickety metal door of my rental was violently shoved open. Lin Mu Wan covered her nose, standing in the doorway with undisguised disgust. Jibane stood behind her, holding a spotless white handkerchief and fanning the air theatrically. Gucci, you're actually hiding in a filthy place like this? Lin Mu Wan's heels clicked across the uneven concrete, the sound grating on the ears. The stench is even more nauseating than a sewer. Jibane frowned slightly, his tone dripping with superiority. Wanner, I told you not to come to a place like this. In an environment like this. Stay here one more second, and you'll catch something. I kept packing my few shabby clothes, without even looking up. Miss Lin, to what do I owe the honor? What do you want? Our deal is already over. Lin Mu Wan walked in, her gaze sweeping over the cramped room. When she saw the glass shards in the trash can, her expression changed abruptly. Gucci, you broke that glass? She pointed at the trash can, her voice sharp enough to grate on the ears. I stuffed my clothes into the worn canvas bag and pulled up the zipper. It was just an old, broken cup. It was taking up space, so I threw it out. What do you know? That was. Lin Mu Wan instinctively tried to argue, but suddenly fell silent. She glanced at Jibane beside her and forcibly swallowed the rest of her words. She couldn't let Jibane see even a trace of attachment to the past. Jibane keenly noticed the change in Lin Mu Wan's mood. He stepped forward and nudged the glass shards on the floor with his toe. A mocking smile curled his lips. Mr. Gu, Wanner is sentimental. Even if something is trash, she still finds it meaningful. How could you smash it so brutally? That was so thoughtless of you. He sighed, pulled a 100 yuan bill from his wallet, and tossed it at my feet as if feeding a beggar. This cheap street market junk. 100 yuan could buy a whole basket of it. Consider it compensation from me, on Wanner's behalf. Wipe that dead look off your face. The flimsy banknote fluttered onto my canvas bag. I stopped packing, and slowly straightened. My gaze turned icy as I looked at Jibane. Young Master Ji, your money is filthy. It disgusts me. Jibane's face darkened instantly. Gucci, don't push your luck. You think taking 10 million puts you on equal footing with me. In my eyes, you're still a filthy little parasite, begging for scraps. Lin Mu Wan immediately stepped in front of Jibane to protect him, glaring furiously at me. Gucci, have you lost your mind? Bang kindly gave you money, and you dare insult him. Pick up the money now, and apologize to Bang. That utterly natural way she took his side was exactly the same as in my past life. I gave a cold laugh, then raised my foot and stepped directly on that 100 yuan bill, grinding it hard beneath my shoe. Apologize. Does he deserve one? Lin Mu Wan, do you really think the whole world has to revolve around you? I indulged you before, because I was blind. But now, in my eyes, you're not even worth the glass shards in that trash can. Lin Mu Wan's eyes widened instantly, her face full of disbelief. She couldn't seem to accept that Gucci, who had once obeyed her every word, would dare speak to her in that tone. You. How dare you speak to me like that? She trembled with rage and raised her hand to slap me. I caught her wrist in one swift motion, my grip so tight that she cried out in pain. Miss Lin, wipe that arrogant look off your face. I flung her hand away. Take your lapdog and get out of my home. Otherwise, I won't hesitate to call the police and report you for trespassing. Seeing this, Jibane rushed over to support Lin Mu Wan, glaring viciously at me. Gucci, just you wait. In Jingju, after crossing me, Jibane, I have 100 ways to make you wish you were dead. I picked up my canvas bag and slung it over my shoulder, meeting his gaze without fear. Anytime. I just doubt you have what it takes. I strode out of the apartment, leaving them both behind. Gucci, how did you become so cruel? You're completely unreasonable. Lin Mu Wan's furious voice rang out behind me. I didn't even look back. After leaving the apartment, I went straight to a budget hotel near the airport. My flight was booked for 6 days later. Until then, all I had to do was wait quietly. However, the Lin family clearly had no intention of letting me leave so easily. On the third evening, someone pounded brutally on my door. Two bodyguards in black suits stood outside, holding a cheap suit. Mr. Gu, Madam Lin has given orders. The Lin family's appreciation banquet is tonight. You must attend. The bodyguard's tone was firm, leaving no room for discussion. I frowned. The agreement has been signed, and I've taken the money. I have no obligation to attend any appreciation banquet. The bodyguard sneered. Madam Lin said, if you don't go, she has plenty of ways to bankrupt that construction company where you used to work. I hear the site foreman there used to look after you well. My eyes turned cold. Madam Lin was threatening me with innocent people. In my past life, that foreman, when I was at my lowest, had indeed lent me a few hundred yuan. I may be ruthless, but I would not drag down someone who once helped me. Fine, I'll go. I took the suit and put it on in front of them. It was clearly one size too small, with rough fabric. Wearing it made me look like a ridiculous clown. The Lin family wanted me to make a fool of myself at the banquet, so Jibane would look even more refined. At 8 that night, the bodyguards half-forced me to Jingju's most luxurious hotel ballroom. Inside the glittering hall, perfume and finery filled the room, and glasses clinked everywhere. The moment I stepped inside, I drew strange looks from everyone around me. Who is that? He's dressed so poorly. How did he sneak in? I heard he's the one who saved the Lin family's eldest daughter. He's a nobody chasing a princess. He should take a look at himself first. Exactly. Compared with young Master Ji, he's worlds apart. Those cruel whispers reached my ears loud and clear. Expressionless, I walked to a sofa in the corner and sat down, lifting a glass of water. Before long, a stir swept through the crowd. Lin Mu Wan emerged, holding Ji Bang's arm, surrounded by admiring guests. Lin Mu Wan wore an ice blue couture evening gown, beautiful beyond words. Ji Bang wore a perfectly tailored white tailcoat, with a priceless sapphire brooch pinned to his chest. Standing together, they did look like a perfect couple. Madam Lin stood on the stage, beaming as she addressed the guests. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend my granddaughter Wanner's appreciation banquet. Wanner was stranded away from home for many days. Thanks to young Master Bane of the Ji family's tremendous help, she was able to return safely. Bane is such a fine young man, loyal and devoted. The Lin family cannot thank him enough. Sitting in the corner, I listened to Madam Lin twist the truth and nearly laughed out loud. I was the one who risked my life to save Lin Mu Wan from the kidnappers. But in Madam Lin's version, all the credit belonged to Ji Bang, and I, the person who had truly saved her life, did not even deserve to have my name mentioned. Just then, Ji Bang carried over 2 glasses of red wine and walked straight toward me. A fake smile hung on his face. His voice was neither too loud nor too soft, just loud enough for those nearby to hear. Mr. Gu, must be boring, sitting here all alone. Come on, let me offer you a toast. He held one of the glasses out to me. I did not take it. I don't drink. A vicious glint flashed in Ji Bang's eyes, but he still put on an innocent face. Mr. Gu, are you refusing to show me respect? Or is it that you're still angry about what happened at the apartment that day? I know you're jealous that Wanner chose me, but when it comes to love, you can't force it. He deliberately raised his voice. The guests nearby stopped talking and turned to look our way. Who the hell do you think you are? That I'd ever be jealous of you? I looked at him coldly. Ji Bang suddenly stepped forward, then suddenly tripped over his own feet. He splashed the wine from his glass directly onto his own chest. Oh! Ji Bang let out an exaggerated cry and fell backward to the floor. Dark red wine instantly stained his expensive white shirt. The entire hall erupted in shock. Lin Mu Wan shoved through the crowd and rushed over like a madwoman. Bang! Are you alright? She helped Ji Bang up anxiously, frantically wiping him with tissues. Ji Bang's eyes reddened, his voice trembling. He looked utterly wronged. Wanner, I'm fine. Mr. Gu was probably just in a bad mood. He didn't mean to push me. His innocent, manipulative words instantly ignited Lin Mu Wan's fury. Lin Mu Wan whirled around, her blazing eyes fixed on me. She stormed up to me in her high heels and raised her hand to slap me. I tilted my head slightly and easily avoided her slap. Guche! You vile, worthless pauper! Lin Mu Wan pointed at me in a rage, her shrill voice nearly piercing my eardrums. Bang kindly offered you a toast, and you actually dared to push him. Get on your knees and apologize to Bane now, or else I will not let you off today. The surrounding guests began condemning me too. What an uncivilized brute. How could the Lin family invite such trash from the bottom of society to this banquet? Hurry up and kneel to apologize. Don't make everyone sick just looking at you. I stood where I was, coldly watching these self-proclaimed high society elites. What if I said, I won't apologize? You won't apologize. Gucci, have you forgotten your place? Disgust filled Lin Mu Wan's eyes, as if she were looking at a pile of revolting excrement. Her chest heaved violently, and even the finger pointing at me trembled. Do you think that just because you took those 10 million, you can throw your weight around in this circle? Let me tell you, around here, crushing you would be easier than crushing an ant. Jibane leaned into Lin Mu Wan's arms, continuing his nauseating performance. He gently tugged at Lin Mu Wan's dress, his voice so weak he sounded ready to faint. Warner. Forget it. Perhaps Mr. Gu only acted this way because of his poor background and his deep insecurity. That is why he did something so extreme. I can just change my clothes. Don't let me ruin everyone's evening. The more he said that, the more Lin Mu Wan felt he had been terribly wronged, and the deeper her hatred for me grew. No. Today, he must kneel, kowtow, and apologize to you, Lin Mu Wan declared firmly. Madame Lin approached, surrounded by bodyguards. Her face was livid. The small leaf red sandalwood Buddhist beads in her hand creaked under her grip. Gucci, the Lin family has been generous to you. Don't push your luck. Madame Lin did not speak loudly, but her voice carried an authority no one dared defy. If you don't kneel and kowtow to settle this today, that 10 million of yours, I can have the bank freeze it whenever I want. And that's not all. I'll make sure you can't survive in Jingju, or even anywhere else in the country. As Madame Lin finished speaking, more than a dozen burly bodyguards in black quickly closed in. They trapped me tightly in the corner. The guests around us backed away, afraid they might get blood on themselves. Yet their eyes gleamed with excitement at the coming spectacle. The pressure reached its peak. Everyone thought that a poor nobody like me, facing the Lin family's power, could only kneel in humiliation and beg for mercy. I looked at Lin Mu Wan's smug face, at the malice Jibane couldn't hide in his eyes, and at Madame Lin's lofty demeanor. Then I suddenly laughed. The sound was especially jarring in the deathly silent banquet hall. What are you laughing at? Have you gone mad? Lin Mu Wan frowned. My laughter sent a chill down her spine. My smile vanished. I slowly took my phone from my pocket. I'm laughing at you so-called clever elites, being played for fools by such a cheap actor. As I spoke, I opened an app on my phone. In my past life, to stop my foreman from shorting my pay, I taught myself a few hacking tricks. I was bored in the corner just now, so I casually hacked into this hotel surveillance system. Lin Mu Wan, open your eyes and look closely. See who is really making a fool of themselves. I pressed the enter key. The massive LED screen in the center of the hall suddenly flickered. Then, the screen that had been playing the Lin family's corporate video switched to high-definition surveillance footage. On screen, everything that had just happened was shown clearly. Jibane walked toward me with his glass of wine. When he approached, I even stepped half a pace back. My hands had remained in my pockets the entire time. I never touched him at all. As for Jibane, he deliberately tripped his left foot over his right, then precisely splashed the entire glass of red wine onto his own chest. Finally, he used the momentum to fall backward, completing that pathetic staged fall. The entire sequence was displayed before everyone from every possible angle. Even before he fell, the sinister smirk at the corner of his mouth was enlarged with perfect clarity. The hall fell deathly silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Everyone stared stiffly at the massive screen. Their faces displayed a remarkable range of expressions. The guest who had just been demanding I kneel now looked as though they had all been grabbed by the throat. Not one of them could say a word. I slipped my phone back into my pocket, then folded my arms. With a faint smirk, I looked at the pale-faced Jibane. Miss Lin, your loyal dog's acting skills aren't very convincing. You set me up. Jibane's pitiful expression instantly twisted. His voice shrieked like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. He violently shoved Lin Mu Wan away, pointing at the huge screen. As he roared in fury, that video is fake. You fabricated it. The footage continued to loop on the giant screen. Every replay was like a resounding slap, striking Jibane hard across the face. The guests began whispering among themselves. Their sympathy for Jibane turned to contempt and mockery. So he fell all by himself. What a shame he isn't up for an Oscar. The distinguished young master of the Ji family. actually used such a vile trick to frame an ordinary man. What a disgrace. The Lin family certainly picked a real piece of work this time. Their remarks pierced Lin Mu Wan's ears like needles. Her face turned livid, and her body trembled slightly. She felt utterly humiliated, yet her first reaction still was not to apologize to me. Guche, how can you be so calculating? You secretly recorded that. Lin Mu Wan spun around, glaring at me viciously. You just wanted to ruin Bang's reputation, didn't you? A lowlife like you couldn't be more vicious. Watching her stubbornly refuse to see reason, I found it utterly absurd. Lin Mu Wan, if you are not going to use your brain, donate it to someone who needs one. I picked up a microphone from the nearby table. My voice boomed through the speakers across the banquet hall. He picked a fight with me first. He poured the wine on himself. I merely revealed the truth. How does that make me vicious? I coldly swept my gaze across everyone present. Is this what your so-called high society does? Twist right and wrong until truth becomes lies. Madame Lin shook with rage. Pointing at me, she shouted, outrageous. This is absolutely outrageous. Where is security? Throw this arrogant bastard out. More than a dozen bodyguards advanced again. I stood my ground without a trace of fear, watching Madame Lin coldly. You do not need to throw me out. I will leave on my own. I slammed the microphone onto the table. With a piercing crash, that 10 million from the Lin family. I have already received it. From this day forward, I, Guche, have no further ties to Lin Mu Wan, or to the Lin family. Not a single tie remains. Your disgusting little circle is not somewhere I want to spend another day. I slammed the microphone onto the table, and it rang out with a piercing crash. I turned around and strode toward the banquet hall doors. Wherever I passed, the bodyguards were cowed by my sheer presence, and instinctively moved aside to make way. Lin Mu Wan watched my resolute retreating back, and suddenly felt an inexplicable emptiness inside. It was as though something that had once belonged to her was slipping completely beyond her control. Instinctively, she stepped forward to follow me, but her pride forced her to stop. Guche, if you walk out that door today, even if you beg me on your knees, I will never look at you again. Lin Mu Wan screamed, herself hoarse behind me. I did not look back. I did not even break my stride. As you wish. I pushed open the banquet hall's heavy doors, shutting that toxic world behind me for good. The night wind swept past, bringing a touch of chill. Yet I had never felt so clear-headed or free. Find out where that loser Guche crawled off to. Lin Mu Wan irritably swept every file from her desk onto the floor. A month had passed since that farcical thank you banquet. Over that month, Lin Mu Wan felt her life had become a complete mess. Every morning when she woke, there was no longer a bowl of stomach-soothing porridge, perfectly warm, beside her bed. Her expensive custom gowns in the dressing room never seemed to have matching accessories. Guche had always arranged all that for her. Whenever her stomach pain flared up, she would writhe in agony on her bed. When she called Ji Bang, the man would only dismiss her with, "Drink some warm water. I am still in a meeting." But before, Guche would run through pouring rain across half the city, just to buy her hot porridge from her favorite place. Lin Mu Wan rubbed her aching temples, an inexplicable irritation rising within her. She refused to admit she had grown used to Guche waiting on her. She told herself that Guche, her cheap nanny, had suddenly quit, and she simply had not adjusted yet. What troubled her even more was this. Ji Bang's true colors were gradually beginning to show. Several times, she had even caught the pungent scent of cheap perfume on Ji Bang's suit jacket. When she confronted him, Ji Bang would impatiently push her away, accusing her of making a scene. "Miss Lin, we found him." The assistant pushed open the door, trembling, and handed over a report. "Guche, he went to hiking, and he used that 10 million to register a technology company. It is doing quite well now." Lin Mu Wan snatched the report away. She fixed her eyes on the photograph of Guche in a suit, looking confident and spirited. The Guche in the photograph had sharp eyes and a composed presence. There was not a trace left of the groveling, shabby man he once was. A fierce need to control him, mixed with jealousy, instantly gripped Lin Mu Wan's heart. How does he get to live so well? Living it up with our Lin family's money. Lin Mu Wan said through gritted teeth. Book me the next flight to hiking. I will see for myself what the hell he is up to. The following afternoon, Lin Mu Wan, in 4-inch heels, appeared outside my company building in a fury. She was still acting like the high and mighty heiress. Ignoring the receptionist's attempts to stop her, she barged into my office. I sat behind my large desk, reviewing a project report. Hearing the commotion, I did not even look up. Gucci, you have gotten awfully bold. You actually started a company behind my back. Lin Mu Wan walked up to my desk and slammed both hands onto it. Unhurriedly, I closed the report, then looked up, my gaze resting coldly on her. Miss Lin, trespassing in someone else's office makes you legally liable. My cold attitude stung Lin Mu Wan. She took a deep breath, trying to order me about in that same patronizing tone as before. Gucci, have you finished making a scene? Come back with me. I can forgive your earlier disrespect. Forgive me. Lin Mu Wan, are you seriously that out of touch with reality? I leaned back in my ergonomic executive chair, my hands folded before me, watching her as if she were insane. My words left Lin Mu Wan's face flushed red. She stared at me intently, as if searching my face for the slightest trace of pretense. But she was disappointed. There was only cold mockery in my eyes, not a trace of the devotion she knew so well. Stop playing dumb. Lin Mu Wan raised her voice, trying to hide her inner panic. You deliberately came to hiking to start a company. Wasn't it just to get my attention? You think putting on a suit can hide that cheap, poor air about you? Let me tell you, you will always be a lowlife who survives on the Lin family's charity. I listened calmly to her hysterical tirade, a cruel smile curling my lips. In my past life, she had used that same condescending tone to grind me into the dirt. I rose to my feet, slowly rounded the desk, and stopped before her. My towering height and the commanding aura of a man long in power forced Lin Mu Wan to take an involuntary step back. Lin Mu Wan, do you think Jibane will always be your first choice? I stared into her eyes. Word for word, I repeated what she had told me at the cliff's edge in my past life, giving every word back to her unchanged. And I, this lowly poor man, was only fit to be your backup, always at your beck and call. Lin Mu Wan was struck as if by lightning. She froze where she stood. Her eyes flew wide, staring at me in terror. Those words had existed only in the darkest corner of her heart. She had never spoken them to anyone. She could not understand how I had so precisely pierced the filthiest secret buried deep inside her. You. How could you? Her lips trembled. She could not even form a complete sentence. I gave her no chance to catch her breath, and continued, every word a dagger to her heart. Who do you think you are? Some noble princess? You are nothing but an ungrateful, selfish wretch. You enjoyed everything I gave you, yet looked down on where I came from. You worshipped Jibang's power, yet turned a blind eye to the kind of man he was. Now, in my eyes, you are not even worth as much as a stray dog by the roadside. Lin Mu Wan's psychological defenses completely collapsed. She covered her ears and shook her head wildly. No, that is not true. You are lying. I could not be bothered to look at her pathetic display any longer. I pressed the intercom on my desk. Security, come up here. Throw this crazy woman out of my office. Less than half a minute later, two burly security guards rushed in. They seized Lin Mu Wan's arms from either side. Let me go. Do you know who I am? I am the Lin family's eldest daughter. Lin Mu Wan struggled desperately, her flawless makeup distorted by rage and fear. I sat back down and reopened the report. Throw her out. Do not let trash like this into my company again. You dare call me trash? Gucci, you will regret this. Lin Mu Wan fled back to Jingju in disgrace, but waiting for her was devastating news, enough to destroy the Lin family. Something had happened to Jibang. Not only had he kept several paid escorts, he was also suspected of using several of the Lin family's core projects for large-scale money laundering and financial fraud. Once the truth came out, police arrested Jibang while he was fooling around in an underground casino. The moment the news broke, Jingju's business world was shaken. Ling Group shares hit their daily limit down within 10 minutes of opening. Billions vanished from its market value. Old Madam Lin was so overwhelmed with shock and rage that she suffered a cerebral hemorrhage and was rushed into intensive care. She remained unconscious. Lin Mu Wan panicked completely. She rushed to the detention center to confront Jibane. Through the iron bars, Jibane no longer wore his usual mask of refined gentility. His face was twisted, his eyes as venomous as a snake's. "What are you doing here? Did you come to laugh at me?" Jibane spat viciously. Lin Mu Wan wept and pounded on the glass. "Bane, why did you do this? Why did you lie to me? Why did you destroy the Lin family?" Jibane suddenly burst into wild laughter, laughing until tears streamed down his face. "Lie to you? You were just too stupid. Did you really think I would want some other man's leftovers like you? If I had not wanted the Lin family's resources, do you think I would have lowered myself to placate an idiot who threw herself at me?" Every word was like a sharp blade, plunging savagely into Lin Mu Wan's heart. She collapsed onto the floor, feeling as if her entire world had fallen apart. Only then did she finally see Jibane for who he truly was. In the depths of despair, Lin Mu Wan desperately thought of me. She remembered Guche, who worked for jobs a day, just to buy her a small cake. She remembered Guche, who, when she was sick, stayed by her bedside night after night, afraid to close his eyes for even a moment. Crushing regret gnawed at her insides like a venomous snake. Hiking. It was late autumn, and rain poured from the sky. I had just finished an important business negotiation, and sat in the back of a Maybach, ready to return to the hotel. The car had just left the underground garage, when the driver suddenly slammed on the brakes. "Mr. Gu, someone is kneeling in the rain ahead. They are blocking the road," the driver reported, turning back. I lowered the window and looked out coldly. In the driving rain, Lin Mu Wan was soaked to the skin, kneeling in front of the car like a drowned rat. Her once perfect hair clung tightly to her face, and her gown was covered in mud. When she saw the window lower, she scrambled desperately to the car door and clutched the edge of the window. "Guche, I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. Please. Give me one more chance, please." "Give you another chance? So, you can push me off a cliff again?" Holding a large black straight-handled umbrella, I pushed open the car door and looked down at Lin Mu Wan in the muddy water. Cold rainwater dripped from the umbrella ribs and struck her face. Lin Mu Wan jerked her head up, staring at me in sheer terror. Of course, she did not know I had been reborn. She only felt that my words were like a rusty saw, slowly sawing through her soul, leaving her nowhere to hide. "You. What are you talking about? I do not understand." Her teeth chattered as she tried to conceal her overwhelming terror. I savored her misery and despair, feeling not a shred of pity. There was only the satisfaction of revenge. "It does not matter if you do not understand. You only need to know this. As far as I am concerned, you now are not even worth a pile of mud." Lin Mu Wan broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. She lunged at me without a thought for anything else, clinging desperately to my leg. Mud smeared my custom-tailored suit trousers. "Guche, I truly regret it. Jibane is an animal. He deceived me. He destroyed the Lin family too. Grandma is still fighting for her life in the hospital. The Lin family is about to go bankrupt. Guche, you are all I have left." She raised her face, tears mingling with rainwater, trying to stir even a trace of my former affection with that pitiful look. "Guche, I am pregnant. The baby is Jibane's. But I will have an abortion tomorrow. As long as you will take me back, I will do whatever you say from now on. I will be your slave if I have to." Listening to her shameless plea, I felt a wave of nausea. In my previous life, she had used this child as an excuse to luring me to the edge of a cliff, before pushing me over with her own hands. My gaze turned icy. I raised my leg and kicked her away without mercy. Lin Mu Wan screamed, then crashed heavily into a muddy puddle, sending filthy water splashing everywhere. "Lin Mu Wan, you are no longer even worthy of my hatred." I looked down at her from above, my voice glacially cold. "The way you grovel and beg now makes me sick to my stomach. Get out of my sight. Get out." My gaze turned icy. I raised my leg and kicked her away without mercy. Lin Mu Wan screamed, then crashed heavily into a muddy puddle, sending filthy water splashing everywhere. I turned and got into the car, without another glance at her. "Drive," I ordered the driver coldly. "Yes, Mr. Gu." Over the phone, Asen spoke with his usual efficient calm. The source is absolutely reliable. The Lin family is hitting walls everywhere. No domestic bank dares lend them money now. Through an underground broker, they are contacting an overseas firm called Black Gold Capital. They want to mortgage the old estate for a desperately needed loan. Black Gold Capital? What is the old estate's market value? Under normal conditions, at least 500 million. But the Lin family needs cash urgently, and Black Gold Capital is notorious for bleeding people dry. I estimate they would offer, at most, a loan of 200 million, and the interest would be astronomical. They think they deserve 200 million? Listen, Asen. Use every connection we have. Find out immediately which representative at that firm the Lin family contacted, and the exact time and place of their negotiations. I am cutting in ahead of them. Asen was clearly stunned on the other end, his breath catching for a second. Mr. Gu, you mean cut in ahead of them? The funds we can access are only the 10 million you previously had us prepare. That is nowhere near enough to cut them off. We would not even get a seat at their negotiating table, HMPH. Who said I plan to throw money at this? 10 million is enough. That 10 million is not to buy their debt claim. It is to buy us an opening. An opportunity to make Black Gold Capital abandon the Lin family and choose us instead. Once you reach their representative, tell him directly. We have an asset we want to use as collateral. We do not want his money. We can even reverse the arrangement and use the 10 million as a security deposit to purchase the distressed asset they are about to acquire from the Lin family. Tell him, what we want is what remains after the Lin family is liquidated. The final ownership of that old estate. We are willing to assume all the risk and offer him an extra 1% of the returns. The Maybach's engine gave a deep roar, then drove forward without hesitation. The wheels cut through the standing water, splashing Lin Mu Wan from head to toe. Through the rearview mirror, I watched the once arrogant heiress of Beijing's elite circle. She was sprawled on the ground like a beaten stray. Guche. How am I supposed to live without you? Guche. Lin Mu Wan's desperate wail pierced the curtain of rain, carrying from far behind us. How you live without me is your problem. It has nothing to do with me. I rolled up the window. The thick glass shut out the noise outside, sealing Lin Mu Wan's sickening cries. Forever outside my world. Absolute silence returned to the cabin. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror, his eyes questioning. But ultimately, he asked nothing. He only turned up the heat a little. I leaned back against the leather seat and closed my eyes. The boulder weighing on my heart for 2 lifetimes had not shattered completely as I had imagined. It had merely cracked open, because I knew, kicking Lin Mu Wan aside was only the beginning. The real revenge. A grand funeral I would personally orchestrate, tailor-made for the Lin and Ji families, had only just begun. I ignored the muddy smear on my pant leg and turned my attention back to the phone call. Asen. You said the Lin family plans to mortgage the Xishan estate. I understand. Mr. Gu, you have pulled the rug right out from under them. It is a stroke of genius. The Lin family thinks it is their lifeline, never realizing we have already soaked that lifeline in oil. Get it done. Remember, be swift and clean. Leave no trace behind. 3 days later, in the CEO's office on the top floor of Gu Group, I stood before the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking the bustling city below. Asen stood behind me, reporting respectfully. Mr. Gu, everything went exactly as you predicted. Black Gold Capital was more than happy to accept our offer. Yesterday afternoon, the Lin family's representative received a fake letter of intent for a loan and left in high spirits. They still think their 300 million lifeline will arrive by tomorrow at the latest. As for old Madam Lin, I heard they have put her on the best imported medicine, with round-the-clock intensive care, barely keeping her alive. When will the hospital suspend her treatment? According to the agreement, if the funds do not arrive by noon tomorrow, the hospital will immediately cease all treatment, including removing the ventilator. Just then, there was a knock at the office door. Xiao Chen, the newly hired assistant, poked his head in. Mr. Gu, downstairs. Miss Lin from Lin Group is here again. She is demanding to see you. Security can barely hold her back. I walked behind my desk and activated the surveillance monitor. On screen, Lin Mu Wan's hair was a wild mess, her clothes in disarray. There was nothing left of Beijing's former society heiress. Like a madwoman, she clung desperately to the company doors, screaming herself hoarse, "Gucci, come out, you monster! Why are you doing this to my grandmother? She is dying. Give us our money back. I am begging you." 2 large security guards held her on either side, trying to drag her away. But she clung on like a leech, flailing with both hands and feet. It was utterly humiliating. I quietly savored the scene, my heart as still as a stagnant pond. When I was pushed off that cliff in my previous life, she watched with that same cold indifference. Now it was my turn. "Mr. Gu, shall we deal with her?" Asen asked. I picked up the intercom and connected to security. "Is she not sick? Then send her where she belongs. Call the city mental health center. Tell them there's a patient in a manic episode here who poses a serious threat to public safety." I put down the phone and no longer watched the absurd farce on the screen. 1 week later, in the VIP lounge at Hiking International Airport, I wore a well-tailored casual suit, pulling my suitcase. As I stood before the huge floor-to-ceiling windows, the large screen on the wall was playing financial news. Ling Group, once a giant in Jingju, formally declared bankruptcy today. Its chairwoman, old Madame Lin, had incurred enormous unpaid medical bills and died 3 days ago after resuscitation failed. It is reported that Lin Mu Wan, the Lin family's heiress, due to suspected financial crimes and mental instability, has been forcibly committed to the city mental health center. Ji Bang, the Ji family's eldest son, was convicted on multiple charges and sentenced to 15 years in prison at his first trial. I looked at those familiar names on the screen. My heart remained unmoved. I even found it a little dull. "Mr. Gu, your coffee." Xiao Chen, my new assistant, respectfully handed me a cup of Americano. "Everything at the New York branch has been arranged. Several Wall Street investment firms are very interested in our new project." I took the coffee and took a sip. It tasted just right. The grudges from my previous life had been settled. The road before me in this life had only just begun. "Passengers traveling to New York, please note, your flight is now boarding." The crisp announcement rang out. I set down my coffee cup, stood, and pulled up my suitcase. "Let's go, Xiao Chen." I strode toward the gate. Sunlight fell across me, warm and bright, just as I was about to step onto the jet bridge. A phone in my pocket, one that had not rung in a long time, suddenly vibrated. It was a phone I had secretly kept, an old phone from my previous life. It held contacts that should never have existed in this world again. I stopped short. I took out the phone. On the screen was an unsigned number, an unknown number etched into my very bones, flashing relentlessly. The owner of that number had, 3 years ago, already died in that meticulously planned plane crash. I stared fixedly at the number. In that instant, the blood in my body seemed to freeze.